welcome to another edition of Mississippi Stories. I'm your host, Marshall Ramsey, editor-in-large here at Mississippi Today. You can see it right there. We're back live again. This is great, and thank you for joining us today. Our guest today is somebody that I've had the pleasure or honor, I don't know which one's probably more true.
Not honor.
Not honor?
Not
Okay,
honor.
okay. The pleasure to interview several times now. In fact, he was in a previous Mississippi Stories, and we'll put a link to that interview so you get a little bit more of the backstory on this guy. He talked about an incredible career and truly a treasure here in Mississippi, but also all around the world too. We got William Garfield Walker. He's the chief conductor and founder of the Nova Orchester Wien, and that is in Vienna, Austria. That's right. He's actually here in town, and we're going to talk to him a little bit while he's here as well. He's a master. I love his description here. Not his, it's a description of him. Master of intense sound waves with a pioneering spirit. He's one of the world's top young conductors and is an incredible cello player as well. William, welcome back to America. It's good to have you here. It just worked out really well that you were able to be here and be with us in person.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for having me. It's always great to be here.
Yeah, it's always good to catch up with you.
Yeah.
You've had, I think I look back, it was about a year ago that we did the interview, and you've had an incredibly good year. You've had 2 really big awards that you received. And tell us a little bit about them. I guess probably the first one would be the Solti.
Yeah, well, the Solti, I'm very grateful to have been a recipient of the Career Assistance Award.
Yes.
Of the Solti Foundation U.S. The Solti Foundation U.S. was founded by the widow of Georg Solti, the great Hungarian-British conductor who was for many years the music director of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. And it's been a fantastic award to have won. It's opened many doors, and I'm very grateful.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you win an award like that, a lot of people think, oh, great, there's a cash prize. But this really does go way beyond that. Talk about you talk about doors that get open. Where are some of the doors that you've been able to go through this year because of it?
Well, it just puts you in a different category. Yeah. So when administrators see it on a CV, it means something to them.
That's true.
And so it opens those types of things. And so in a few different contexts here and there, and so it's been really great, and the support that the foundation has provided has been also really tremendous as well.
Do you get to have some different events that you get to conduct and different things? I mean, there's anything that's coming up.
So they don't directly organize any events for us to conduct, but they've been very supportive for any questions that I may have on different topics, and they're just fantastic people.
That's great. I was very fortunate back when I was in college. I won the John Loker Memorial Award, which was to the top collegiate editorial cartoonist in the United States.
Wow.
And I got to know Dick Loker, who drew Dick Tracy and was an editorial cartoonist and just a very talented man. I got to know him. But like I said, it wasn't just the award that was great. It was just the fact that I suddenly got thrust into the business. You're already well into the business, but not only do you get to go through those doors, but also the other people that were named with you. Do you get to have those relationships with them and get to know them a little bit better?
Well, yeah. So there was the Solti Foundation dinner.
Yeah.
And
was it in person
October?
finally?
It was.
Oh,
yeah.
good. Okay.
And so they flew us to Chicago.
Nice.
And we met the people of the foundation as well as the other people who were awardees, you could say.
Yeah.
And so that was also a very nice time to meet other people of the same age who are doing what you're doing, and who are doing it at a very high level,
right.
Also. And so it was very nice and inspiring time.
So the second one you won, you're the winner of the 3rd prize of the prestigious Only Stage Conducting Competition. What's so great about that? There was competitors from like 24 nations, 5 continents. So I take it not Antarctica, but pretty much everywhere else.
Yeah.
You were a finalist before that, though.
Yeah, the year before.
Yeah, so you got to 3rd place. That's incredible. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
And that came with a little bit of money, but once again, doors opened and so forth. It looks very good on the scene.
Yeah, exactly.
So, good year. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I think first time I started speaking to you before I guess I interviewed you before the pandemic, and then the pandemic happened, You know, you talked about figuring out how to thrive and survive when suddenly you can't even get everybody together to have a concert. But now you're back to having concerts.
Yeah.
You've got a big one coming up in March 11th in Vienna.
Yes, exactly.
And tell us a little bit about that.
Well, so on the 11th of March, we have the Nova Orchester Wien, and I have a concert at the Vienna Concerthaus.
Yeah.
It's one of the major concert halls in Vienna, and also it's a world concert house.
Yeah.
And so it's always an honor and a privilege to have the opportunity to perform in venues like that. And so we'll be performing in the Mozart Hall in English, and we'll perform a fantastic program of music by composers from all around the world, and we will have a fantastic guest artist, the Armenian cellist and gold prize winner of the Tchaikovsky competition in 2011, named Narek Haknazarian. Very, very fantastic musician.
That's a lot of fun. Now, one of the pieces that you're going to be performing was written in 2010. It's called A Confused and Troubled Society, which I think is very appropriate for the day. But it was written by a very famous composer who's sitting right next to me.
I don't know any famous composers sitting next to you.
No, but that's cool.
Yeah, no, it's a piece that I wrote in 2010.
Yeah.
It's had a few performances here and there, but I thought on this program it would be appropriate just simply, because it is for me at least a confusing time.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's a nice piece, if I can say so.
No, you're allowed to say that.
I think that it fits well with the other pieces on the program, and so it's something that I'm looking for, as a personal joy.
Let's talk. I don't want to go Spider-Man on you and tell your origin story for the 5th time, because you don't just know that in Spider-Man movies. They keep telling the same thing over and over and over. But I think your origin story is so fantastic because, number one, we live in Mississippi. It is so great to see how music has changed your life and given you literally the whole world at your feet. But also, too, there's been a lot of Mississippians that have helped you along the way, too, starting with the Mississippi Symphony Orchestra, the strings program when you were at Casey, and, of course, your parents and your sisters and your family. And the thing I love is you don't really come from a musical family.
Yeah, no, I don't. In a way, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. But I really, I don't come from a musical family.
Yeah, but kudos to your parents, literally, for
very supportive.
Yeah.
Always.
When did they figure out early on that you had kind of a taste for music and you really enjoyed it?
Well, some of my earliest memories, I remember my mom taking me to educational concerts at the Mississippi Symphony at Daimara, and I dressing up as in different characters for Halloween concerts, and watching these concerts, and also music on television. Music was always around, and so I don't come from a musical family, but I come from a family that appreciates music, which I think is very important.
Yeah, you had that exposure on that, and I love you go take strings, and like I said with JPS, you were Casey, and with the strings program, the beauty of it is that it's accessible to everybody.
Exactly, and it's something that I talk about very often. I was even just talking about it recently. To artistic administrators in Germany, even just recently, that it's something that I don't know anywhere else in the world, where an orchestra provides teachers for people to study with, for students to study with for free of charge, and then they have instruments which you can rent for little to no money, literally little or no money. Like if you can't afford it, you can also get it, with the scholarship, and so it's just really incredible.
Yeah, it really is, and I loved it because I was watching another interview with you, and you were talking about this, and you said that a lot of times that the symphony might have a children's concert and people take the day off or whatever, but it's really important to have the prime people there to be able to not look down and talk to the kids, but to talk to them on an eye-to-eye level and light that fire like your fire was lit.
Yeah, it's true. It's really true, and it's something that the Mississippi Symphony does very well.
As a conductor, and like I said, I'm a cartoonist. I don't know as much about your business as I should, but I've been fascinated with your arc and how it seems like, looking backwards, everything you seem to do has fit perfectly into, whether it was that moment at Interlochen when you're sitting there, you're laughing at the other students trying to conduct, and you get up there and suddenly,
you can't do it.
You can't do it. You're like, oh no. But one point, I think I've missed this in the past interviews, I didn't realize that you were a composer, and I didn't realize it at a very young age. It literally, you start piddling around on the piano, and you start hearing sounds, and they start interesting, and you start laying down tracks, and start. At what age was it did you actually start writing simple songs?
Oh man, so I never would consider myself a pianist,
Yeah.
but I did start taking piano quite early.
Yeah.
So like 5 or
Okay.
something like
Wow.
that,
Okay.
or 6. It was more for ear training,
Yeah.
looking back at it, than learning how to be a pianist. So I wouldn't even say that I started my instrumental training at 5 or 6.
Right.
But just to be very clear, but I was we had an electric keyboard at home,
Mm-hmm.
and so that you could record, what you played on it, and I would sit there and play some different things, and then say, okay, well, what happens if I make one track, and then there's a track 2, and then do something else, and change the voice of the keyboard from like piano to like strings, or then put in all types of different instruments, brass or whatever it may be, and so I don't know. I was always interested in doing that, in building something. It's just something I'm interested in life also, and like I've always been interested in building and making stuff.
Yeah, I mean, your curiosity, I think, is a big reason why you're sitting here today talking to me on this. Because, like I said, when you go and you're taking strings, you decide that you want to play the double bass.
Yeah.
But didn't have one, which is a good thing. It probably saved you from having to try to haul a double bass around for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think
cello's not exactly small.
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason why you're here, and is because you didn't want to have to fly with, because you have to buy an extra seat to haul your cello.
Exactly.
You just don't throw it in the overhead compartment.
They won't let you.
Oh, they won't? I guess they don't really fit.
They don't fit there either.
And they're kind of expensive too, so you don't really want to do that.
Yeah.
So you're here to get your one here because your mentor has passed away.
Yeah, a long-time mentor of mine, Dwight Altman, who was one of the, really big figures in American chamber orchestras back in the 70s. He founded the Ohio Chamber Orchestra, which lasted for a good 20-25 years.
Yeah.
And was one of the really big orchestras in establishing chamber orchestras. And he studied with all types of people. He passed away at 88, I believe, late 80s.
Oh, yeah.
And he studied with Pierre Monteur, who was one of the big conductors of the 20th century, and premiered The Rite of Spring, which is a big story in classical music in 1912. And so this is somebody who goes back for he knew people who were a part of history, literally a part of history. A violinist that played under Brahms. I mean, this is it's like thinking about it from now. Is these guys lived hundreds. They were active 100 years ago or more. And so he passed away sadly just before Christmas, and his services are this weekend.
So you're going to play cello in Asheville.
Exactly.
On that. So, and I guess where I was going before I kind of went off in that direction is your curiosity is a big reason you're here, but also too, you have had people all along the way that have championed you and believed in you.
I'm grateful for that. Yeah.
And so it's a combination, I think, of the fact that you're putting in the work. And I always think the second that you get up on the stand and get ready to conduct, you've done quite a bit of homework.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're a composer, and where I was going to say is you started out with doing strings, but you also played saxophone.
Yep.
But then one day, oboe's kind of interesting. I'll try to figure that out. You would literally, because you were curious, you would start learning to play all the different instruments.
Yeah.
So here you're a composer, so you kind of understand a piece when you're coming into it from that perspective, and you've played most of the instruments that everybody in the symphony's playing, so you kind of...
Let's be clear though, not to the level
not to the level they're doing,
yeah.
But you also know not to push them in areas where they can't go.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying you've got that knowledge base. That's kind of cool that you, as a conductor, that you come in armed with all that. So that probably helps you on the success level.
Well, yeah, and I think it's very important that conductors do learn, many different instruments, as many as they can, to at least a basic level, because it does really help to know. Okay, if I do this, that's not enough preparation time for the brass to play. The strings, they can get away with it because they just, but you have to breathe. You have to literally breathe to, if you're a brass or wind player, you have to give the preparation so that the breath can happen.
I learned that from a Bugs Bunny cartoon, by the way.
Oh yeah,
The Great Leopold. Remember the one where
yeah,
he's doing
exactly.
that?
Yeah.
See, I'm not as dumb as you think.
No, I don't think you're dumb at all. So
just kidding. But like I said, you're armed when you go in there too, and of course, you've got your own orchestra. You know the people in there, but a lot of times you're walking for competitions and so forth. You're also walking in cold.
Yeah.
Getting to, and you don't know what you're facing a little bit. So
Yeah.
I guess it kind of helps to be able to be armed with that knowledge too.
Yeah, well, it's all, I want to be as prepared as possible.
I honestly, number one, and for people who don't understand about Vienna, that would be like getting to play jazz in New Orleans or getting to play the blues in Memphis or in the Delta. I mean, it's literally the epicenter for classical music.
Yeah.
So number one, living there, and like you said, just getting to perform in famous venues or getting to be across the street from where Beethoven lived or whatever, do you ever just pinch yourself and go, I can't believe I'm here?
Well, yeah, I mean, all the time, because I mean, as you said, it's been the epicenter really for, since the 1700s.
Yeah.
Haydn lived there in my neighborhood.
Oh wow.
It's one of these crazy things. I can say that a guy named Schickeneeder, who was a librettist, wrote the libretto for Mozart operas, and he lived in my building.
Oh wow.
I didn't pick it for that reason. It just happened by accident. And then later on, I found out that he lived there. But the thing is that you just by accident run into these things just all around the city, and so it's inspirational on one hand, and it's humbling on another hand, knowing that all these giants have literally just walked through here. And I mentioned the concert house where we're performing, and you watch an interview of Stravinsky talking, and he says, yes, we performed this in the new concert hall in Vienna, and he's talking about the Konzerthaus. Yeah. And so that it was built in the 1800s, and he's calling it the new one, but the other one is older. And anyway, and Brahms was there, and Beethoven, and Mahler, and all these guys, and so it just really, it's incredible. Yeah.
How far out do you? I mean, I think about my career. Sometimes I laugh. I was like, well, I just want to be doing this tomorrow. I mean, I don't really plan out too far. And of course, number one, what would a daily schedule be like for you? And two, where do you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years?
Okay, a daily schedule at this point is it depends on what the next project is, or what the next projects are.
Right.
So, for example, for right now, with the concert on March 11th, because it's with my orchestra, the Nova Orchestra, and I'm very much involved in every aspect of it. That's my schedule is making sure that it works, making sure that everything is running.
Yeah,
so
you got to do the business
works.
side on top
also,
of it.
So like I'm involved in every aspect of it, and phone calls, meetings, and all these types of things. And then also preparing the music for the performance. And so, but when something like that's not happening, and I do try to block off quite a lot of time for this to happen, but when something like that's not happening, then it's preparing scores for the next concerts. Waking up in the morning and doing score study, and I try to now, just do quite some reading as well, and on many different topics, whether it's a biography or whether it's something literary, and just because when you do all these other things, it does expand your musical horizons. It all connects, and it's just a lot of working on me, you could say, on my understanding of music and of life and of everything.
So you sleep about 3 hours a day is what you're saying?
Something like that.
Something like that. And like I said, I would say I wouldn't even worry about what's going to be down the road. Looking back at your career, it's like everything seems to have unfolded the way it was supposed to unfold.
Well, yeah. Even if in the moment, I don't think so.
Well, like the pandemic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that worked out.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to say it worked out, but at the same time, it did.
We're still here.
Yeah,
We're still
exactly.
talking to each other. And jokes aside on that.
Yeah.
Like I said, you do have great Mississippians who believe in you, and like I said, Carol Puckett, of course, loves you and believes in you, and of course her husband John Palmer, and I love how they ran into you in Aspen, and that's how that relationship formed, which is just great. That's such a typical Mississippi story.
Yeah.
You're doing a concert in Mississippi in Vienna, and there's somebody from Mississippi in the audience.
Exactly.
That's how that always works out. look, I know you've got a busy schedule. You've got to hit the road here soon. But I just want to say thank you for coming in and catching us up with what's going on in your career. But also, too, I'm just glad to know you. I'm just really proud of how things are going.
I'm glad to know you.
Yeah.
I mean, like I've told you many times before, this story of when I first met you.
Yeah.
When I was, this tall.
Yeah, go ahead, make the host feel old.
Oh, no.
But it is,
God.
it's just fun. And like I said, I always love kids. And of course, I'm glad you didn't turn into a cartoonist. You turned into a conductor. It worked out better for you, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it worked out better for everybody because you don't want to see anything that I draw.
And you don't want to hear me play an instrument. So it worked out great for both
All
of
right.
us. Look, thank you so much. Man, I'm so happy.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. And, check us out. We've got past episodes of Mississippi Stories and, of course, the past interview that we did with William as well. So, once again, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this episode of Mississippi Stories. Make sure to subscribe to the Mississippi Today YouTube channel and click the bell to be notified every time a new video uploads.